What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about David Mamet in particular, more on the argument about language in plays. So I've met a lot of people in my life that either love David Mamet, and I am one of those people. I love David Mamet. I own every play he's ever written. I own every book that he's ever written about the topic of playwriting, or directing in film. Like, I absolutely love David Mamet. I cannot get enough of him. He's one of my favorite playwrights. But I've met people that are like, either they don't like his plays at all, but they like his approach to writing, or they just don't like him in general. And I think a lot of that springs from the language that he uses in his plays, which I think brings forth a really good debate of the context of language in plays. Because to me, I always see language, if you have to put in vulgarity, you use it to punctuate a point, and I think that's perfectly acceptable. Also, it's a speech pattern. If you've met me in real life, I swear a lot. It's just how I talk, and it's not because I don't have an expansive vocabulary, it's not because I'm dumb, it's just how I speak. And it's just how I get my point across. And for some people, like, for writing that's a speech pattern. That's a way that some people talk, so it's a way that a character could talk. And I don't necessarily support like useless vulgarity in a script. Like, I think there needs to be a point to it, but I think that it does have its place in writing. And there are some people that you will find that say that it's laziness in writing, that there are better ways that you can cope, or better ways that you can explain your idea, and all these different things. But to me, it doesn't necessarily say a lack of anything on the writer's part. It's a speech pattern. And I think that's the way that our world is moving, because if you look at the generation gaps from theater, from place to place to place, it's a generation thing that just, as this one comes up, we swear more. And so, like, to us, it doesn't bother us, but to some of the older generations of theater, they almost won't perform a script, which I do understand that it limits the use of the script. I completely agree with that, because, like, you can't do a David Mamet in a high school. That doesn't exist. So, like, I understand that as a playwright, I would be limiting where my script could be performed based on the language that I chose to use. But I also understand that that's my right to do so. And as long as I understand that at the beginning, and I'm not like trying to get a high school to perform, American Buffalo, I think it's fine. And he understands that. He understands the language in his, and he understands that it's for mature audiences. And I think it's all writing towards your audience. And for me, I understand that, and so I have no problems with the language. Glengarry Glen Ross is one of my favorite plays, but I can appreciate the opinion that it's an issue. I just don't necessarily agree with it. And to me, it makes it so much more realistic to be able to sit there and see characters that you're like, yeah, that's me. Like, I talk like that. Like, I feel like your audience can relate to it better. And then, I mean, a lot of people that they hate his writing but love his approach to writing, it always cracks me up, because I'm like, it just seems so backwards to not actually appreciate the writing. But I do agree that his approaches to writing are, in my opinion, one of the best people that you could follow if you're trying to be a new scriptwriter. Like, I saw a masterclass with him online that had all these different episodes in it, and I loved it. I learned so much from that masterclass. I've learned so much from the books that he's written. One of my favorite books of all time in concerns of theater is On Directing Film by David Mamet, which is basically just a transcript of a class that he taught that there's chapters that have just him, and he's just talking in a lecture form, and then there's chapters that have like question and response from students, where he walks in, he's like, all right, let's direct a film, what's it about? And you actually see student 1, student 2, and they respond, and then he coaches them on the best possible situation. And to me, that has always been fantastic. I've always loved that. And I've always loved the whole approach of the perfect movie has no words, which as a scriptwriter should be like, that's your bread and butter, why are you wanting to give that away? But to me, it's always been so phenomenal the way that you can explain ideas and ideologies without using any words. Anyway, that's my tirade for today. Tune in next week, where we're going to be talking about when you write a script and then things don't necessarily go as planned, especially in film, and you have to adapt. And so learning to deal with those adaptations of everything and overcoming your obstacles. See you next week.